Hi everyone, welcome to Blackhat Europe 2022 Arsenal. I am Tushar Kulkarni and I am going to present vAPI. Be it modern web applications or mobile applications, APIs play a crucial role in its development. Starting from getting weather forecasts for your city till streaming multimedia content onto your smartphones and smart devices, APIs are being used everywhere. We have also seen huge data breaches happening due to API vulnerabilities. A major percent of internet traffic today is now APIs. If you are a security enthusiast who wants to learn more about API vulnerabilities, vAPI is the place to go. Now let's have a look at new version of vAPI and check what has changed since last year. Before we start on the vAPI, a little bit about me. I am Tushar Kulkarni from India. Currently, I am a graduate student at Indiana University Bloomington in the secure computing track. I am also a SYNAC red teamer where I try to find vulnerabilities on SYNAC programs. Previously, I have given talks and trainings at numerous conferences such as Blackhat Europe, @Hack, Hack in the Box, and OWASP events, and many more. You can find everything about me on roottusk.com. According to a report by Gartner in 2017, API abuses would be the most frequent attack vectors resulting in data breaches for enterprise web applications. The same report was quoted again by Gartner in Gartner Predicts 2021. And it's no lie. We have seen countless data breaches this year. Microsoft Exchange, Crypto.com, WordPress email template designer, to name a few, out of which some may be related to API security misconfigurations. I believe more awareness about API security is our best armor against such threats, hence vAPI. vAPI is a lab-like environment where users can learn about and exploit API security vulnerabilities. Though it primarily focuses on OWASP API top 10 vulnerabilities, I continuously try to improve it and add more challenges to it, so there are more number of vulnerabilities in it. If you are a pen tester or a security engineer, you can test out your pen testing skills on the lab and solve vulnerabilities to get a flag. Since the lab is CTF like, once you complete a challenge, it will give you a flag once you exploit the vulnerability completely. You will get to learn about the basic security vulnerabilities occurring in REST APIs. If you happen to be a developer, you can have a look at my intentionally vulnerable written code, which can act as a reminder of not to do things next time you are making or baking an API. You can also think of possible ways to fix the issues by looking at that vulnerability in the vAPI. I had also presented vAPI at Blackhat Europe 2021 Arsenal last year, thanks to the CFT team to consider this year as well. Since last year, there have been a lot of changes to the vAPI platform. We have added 3 new exercises in the arena section related to JWT tokens, server-side request forgery, and cross-site scriptings. There are some more exercises that are on the way. We have also added Kubernetes support for vAPI. Thanks and shout out to AndyG-0. We have added an endpoint to check if the submitted flag is correct, and the vAPI flag submission dashboard is on the way. Feel free to use this platform for your security trainings, workshops, and talks. For technology stack, we have used Laravel, MySQL for primary application code. PHP is still a great language to make CTF challenges and demonstrate security vulnerabilities, and MySQL as a database really goes along well with it. We have also Dockerized the whole application so you don't have to really take care of manually doing everything. You can run one command and your vAPI instance should be up and running. Since we also added support for Kubernetes, so there is no hassle for upscaling or downscaling of your instance. Installation of vAPI should be simple for any average user. We have 3 ways to install or start a vAPI instance: manual, Docker, and Kubernetes. My personal favorite is the Docker, where you can ensure you have a Docker and Docker Compose binary on your system. And running Docker Compose upd should start the vAPI without any problems. If you like to tweak around like me, you can try manual installation by editing the .env file, which is the environment file for the project. It's in the project, and you can add correct database information there. Then import the database and then run php artisan serve command, which starts the Laravel application. If you want to run it through Kubernetes, which I am very little known to, you can run the mentioned command, which should start the vAPI node, I believe. If you run into any trouble, feel free to post it on the GitHub project repo issues, and I will try to take a look at it. Since vAPI comes with a Postman collection and Postman environment, you will need Postman tool to look at all the exercises and the REST API calls. We have also made Postman collection in such a way that after creating a user in the challenge, you don't need to manually go and copy the authentication token that is generated after the user is created. It gets automatically added to the next API call through the Postman test scripts and Postman environment that the vAPI has. There's a not so official OpenAPI documentation available on the /vAPI endpoint on the instance on which you are running the application. It can also give you a good idea about the API calls. I like to use man in the middle proxies to solve CTF challenges, so you can also use one such as OWASP ZAP or Burp Suite to solve the challenge. It's not entirely necessary, but may did you it may help you solve the challenges which need extra decoding or brute forcing. Some challenges in vAPI can be quickly solved with the help of such tools. Although we are trying to add more vulnerabilities to vAPI, it was originally based on OWASP API Top 10, which is a part of OWASP API security project. You can go ahead and check it out. They have also announced call for data for 2022, which may result in a new version of OWASP API Top 10. So if you are an individual or an enterprise and are willing to share data about API security vulnerabilities that you have encountered, I encourage you to check their call for data for the project. Let's quickly have a look at one or two vulnerabilities from the vAPI. So this is my Postman collection where I have imported the Postman collection. Uh, Here it's my vAPI environment which stores all the variable. I won't change the initial value to anything else since my vAPI is running on localhost. And here are the exercises. These three exercises have been added recently, like the just week token, server surfer, and sticky notes. Let's have a look at the just week token first. So it seems like a funny acronym for, let's say, JWT tokens. So we go here, we create a user. So I will try and create a user with username root task, which is my pseudonym, and let's give a easy passwords, something like this. Once I send the request, it says duplicate entry, so I might have to change my username. Let's create a user for root, as I have exhausted the number of times I have created this user. So let's try with something else. So yeah, it says now the user is created and we have a token which is a JWT token. I think the token might help us get data in the next request, so we don't need to actually copy it. It gets automatically stored in the environment using the Postman test scripts that we have here. So if I go and send a get user request, I will still get the data, but it says success true and the text is just your usual text. I believe since it's a challenge related to JWT tokens, we have to do something with JWT, and the first thing that comes to my mind is the signature exclusion attack, which is achieved by setting the algorithm to none. So let's copy the token into Burp Suite so we have a better idea on what the token is. Let's try and decode it as base 64. it says there's a role called user. Let's try and change it to admin. But since we'll be tampering with the payload of the JWT, so the JWT has three sections. One is header, then the payload, and the signature. The signature is the encrypted part, and it uh, it always gets checked with the algorithm that is provided. So we'll try to exclude the algorithm that is there. So we can try and change it to something like none, and then again encode it as base64. So let's copy this and add it to our JWT token. So let's try to edit it, and I'll paste it here. Now the JWT token is updated with this algorithm none, and let's try to send the request again. Let's see what happens. It says duplicate. Oh, I used it for the create user, so I can send this request again since the updated token is, it says JWT exception. So I think it should be none, or maybe we can decode it again as plain text and then encode it using base64. Let's try it one more time. Oh, that is because the token was not set properly. So the token that we got, I think we need to create a token one more time. So let's go ahead and create another user. Okay, now we have one more token. Now let's copy it and change the algorithm to none and encode it again as base64. So let's go to Postman and edit the environment variable, that is our JWT token, which has to be sent in the header. It's now updated. Now let's do the get user, and it still says just use your usual text. But if you notice one thing, that we were able to update the header section by changing the algorithm to none. So even if we now exclude the signature of part of the JWT token, we might still be able to get data from the server. So let's just go ahead and exclude the signature of it. So we can do this by so yeah, in vAPI it's easy. Yeah, that dot is the separator. Now if we send the request again, it still works. Now let's copy the header part of it and change it to like tamper it with our custom data. So let's add that 9 manually. So here is what we see. Now let's change the role from user to admin and do a base64 encode again. Okay, let's try and decode it to see if it's getting decoded properly. Yeah, it is. Let's copy this and update it here. Let's try to. So now we have changed the role from normal user to admin and see if we get any special text. So let's send the request, and there we have our flag for the JWT challenge. It says flag JWT and there's some random text. So this is how you can solve the challenge and get the flag. I have just solved one of the challenges. I encourage you to check other challenges as well. I also encourage you to check this new sticky notes challenge, which is based on XSS. So it might be that APIs are most of the times not vulnerable to cross-site scripting attacks because of the strict content type headers. But I really encourage you to check out this challenge because it has a certain feature which may or may not allow you to change content type. So please go ahead and check. Meanwhile, we can have a look at the uh, the vAPI. So this is the vAPI homepage where all the API calls are described. And if you go just on localhost, the GitHub page comes, so it's easy for you to get started with the project. Coming to the end of the demo, a big thanks to all the contributors of this project and the newsletters and the blogs for helping this project reach to a bigger audience. You can additionally check the mentioned links such as Mind API, Awesome API Security, and OWASP Vulnerable Web Applications Directory to learn more about vulnerable applications or stuff related to API security. You can also check these references. Once again, thank you so much for joining my talk. Feel free to shoot if you have any questions for me, or you can reach out to me on @vk_tushar on Twitter. Thank you.